What's cracking, people? We about to watch this. Is Superman overpowered? And we're gonna see the breakdown because I got a little something to get off my chest about this thing. Cause I ain't gonna share my opinion yet. We're gonna see. I do dabble into the comics a little bit. A lot.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than
Comics.
Donald Trump loves Twitter. Unfortunately, I'm your host and spirit guide, Aris Quinones. Today, my friends, we're talking about some Superman. More specifically, we're going to attempt to answer the hot button question: is too overpowered? Admittedly, this is a pretty subjective debate, as there's solid points to be made on both sides of the discussion. So let's start with some facts about his powers and abilities, and then I'll tell you where we land on the subject. Superman is, of course, a son of Krypton, who draws his power from the energy of Earth's yellow sun. His incredibly well-known power set includes nearly unrivaled super strength, super speed, the power of flight, invulnerability, heat and X-ray vision, super hearing, super breath, and super stamina. But Superman isn't alone in possessing a mix of these particular powers. Martian Manhunter, for example, seems to match Superman's power set and then some. So why all the debate over Superman being too overpowered? Well, it really seems to stem from the fact that Superman has been shown to have no real ceiling to his power.
Exactly.
His abilities seemingly stretch to meet whatever challenge or evil he must face. So while he's not the only one to have these powers or abilities, he just always seems to be able to take them a little further than others. It wasn't always that way, though. When Supes was first created in the 1930s, his powers were limited to super strength, super speed, and of course the ability to leap over tall buildings in a single bound. While those aren't insignificant, it's a long way from the Superman we have today. And that's because starting in the 1940s, DC began to increase and expand Superman's powers and abilities in order to keep readers interested, by consistently giving the character bigger and more dangerous challenges to overcome. This trend continued until Superman's powers peaked in the 1980s, just before Crisis on Infinite Earths, when at times he was presented with basically godlike strength and power. Though post-Crisis Superman did see certain brief restrictions placed on his power, as was demonstrated in the Infinite Crisis and Death of Superman storylines. But his power began to increase yet again through the New 52 and now Rebirth, to the extent that he's since displayed insane feats of strength, like containing a black hole within his bare hands. A few other examples of Superman's seemingly limitless power would be punching Wonder Woman, who many believe to be his equal, from the sun to the earth, destroying an entire solar system with a single sneeze, which is just ridiculous, shattering the boundaries between space and time by exchanging punches with an alternate version of himself, and bench pressing the weight of the earth for 5 days straight, only to generate a single drop of sweat. I sweat more than that just sitting up in the morning.
This shit ridiculous?
Anyway, I could actually go on for quite some time listing insane demonstrations of his power. And if you do want to hear more of them,
this man is supposed to come back to life in the next Justice League film that's coming out.
So we'll put that link right here. But the main point is that the overpowered debate is not about his skill set. It's driven by Superman's demonstrated ability to extend his strength and power to meet almost any challenge.
He does have a weakness,
even begging the question of whether he's a god. But okay, where do we fall on the topic? Well, I don't personally think of Superman as too overpowered for one reason, and it's mostly a philosophical one. For me, it's because the character from his earliest days was meant to be the embodiment of hope, and an example of the idea that humankind is at its best when we place love and concern for our fellow man ahead of ourselves. This is the very reason that Superman has often been considered a Christ-like figure in comics, and why he's been used to tell stories that brought hope and comfort to many during incredibly difficult times like World War II, giving war-weary people something to cheer for when things otherwise look bleak, and helping them believe that good can win even against the greatest of odds. If the main point of Superman is to encourage hope and optimism, he must be shown to have limitless potential to break through any barriers and overcome any challenges or obstacles. Otherwise, I think it would defeat the primary purpose of the character. Sure, love and Care Bear hugs hasn't always been Superman's motivation, and The Last Son of Krypton has definitely seen some darker periods and storylines, but overall, he has been one of the most consistently reliable superheroes in comic book history, and certainly one of its biggest symbols of truth, justice, and self-sacrifice. And during a time where the world could once again use characters that promote the notion of hope, humanity, and concern for our fellow man, it's good to see DC move to restore the version of Superman that embodies those characteristics and message. Now, I know that some of you will disagree and say that his level of power makes him predictable, or that it strips him from all human flaws and makes him boring. But to that I would say, he's not meant to be like Batman, or Wolverine, or Tony Stark. He's meant to represent the best of us. I say, let those other characters tell that side of the human story, and let Superman do what he do, baby. But like I said at the beginning, we know this is a hot button topic, so we created a discussion forum over at VariantComics.com where you guys can give your opinion on the subject.
I'll surely
discuss with other members of the Variant Nation. We'll also be popping in occasionally to give our 2 cents and make sure there's no blood. So I just want to thank the people who made today's episode
Yeah, that's something crazy though.
When you buy a domain name from domain.com, you get the power to influence and control.
See, my opinion on Superman is really different. Like,
no domain
I
extension will help you
believe
tell
we
your story
had
like a
Superman
.com
is
or
invincible
.net
and
domain name.
fucking
Domain.com
long.
is
Can't we
affordable,
just have
reliable,
something?
and easy
Somebody
to
show
use.
some
The
humanness.
guys at domain.com
It's just like
give Aaron's
Goku
an awesome
and Dragon
offer.
Ball Z.
Get 15% off domain.com's already affordable domain names and web hosting.
What y'all think?